Midwest renegade hooligan, who is it? Reppin' it heavily, Dookie Mane.
Ain't no shade.
Take 2 shots straight to the brain.
To the brain.
Ice grilled out like I'm hella paid. Whoa, take your ass up to the helipad.
Helipad.
Toss your ass into propeller blades.
Propeller blade.
You know the boys stay too insane.
What?
Renegade, renegade, renegade. Midwest renegade hooligan, who is it? Reppin' it heavily, Dookie Mane.
Ain't no shade.
Take 2 shots straight to the brain.
To the brain.
Ice grilled out like I'm hella paid. Whoa, take your ass up to the helipad.
Helipad.
Toss your ass into propeller blades.
Propeller blade.
You know the boys stay too insane.
What?
Renegade, renegade, renegade. And you better step back. Know some motherfuckers used to run around.
Welcome to another episode of Noise from Nowhere.
What's
It's your man
happening?
Osh from the Ghost.
Dookie Duke.
Tonight
What's
with us,
happening?
our guest is Lex, formerly of Dead Media, also other things. But tonight we're here to talk about other ventures that she's on to, things that we can expect in the future, a little bit of her backstory, and a lot of hip-hop knowledge on the way. So with that,
Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, I'm Lex. I'm so
anyway, if you just want to fill us in that maybe some of your musical background in the career-wise, in actual work you've done.
So I started when I was like 16, handing out flyers at my school to get free guest list spots to basically street team. And
Street team for who?
I was Scum.
Okay,
actually.
nice.
They used to throw shows at this spot called Club Luna, and he would give us guest list spots for selling tickets.
And this was in Denver?
Yeah, it was South Denver.
Okay.
Nice.
What years were these?
2007, 2008.
Okay. So roughly a little over 10 years ago.
You've been doing it for a while.
That's crazy, yeah.
So street teaming from Scum, leading up to what was the next part of your music career to where you was actually working with artists and making moves in the music scene?
I promoted for Scum, and then I started promoting for a company called Live Nation, and it was basically the same thing. I had a good friend who worked at Live Nation, and she would give me guest list spots for promoting with her. Then I moved up here to Casper. I used to hand out CDs for MC Virus, actually.
Nice.
And Static and I got together. I took on co-managing Rhymesick. From there, we went to Denver, and we linked back up with Scum.
Okay. Roughly just time frames, about what time did you move to Denver and start managing at the Roxy?
So I started at the Roxy in 2015, I think. I was there 2.5, almost 3 years. I started there as an intern, basically just because I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
I've been promoting forever. I wanted to go further.
Getting
So you was
deeper
working
now.
for free?
Yeah, for a while.
Wow.
But they were super cool. They taught me like everything. And then they lost their manager.
So what were some of your day-to-day operations at the Roxy? What did you do?
I booked all the local acts. I had to communicate with all the artists, make sure all the writers were intact, go over contracts, set times, scheduling.
Did you start booking artists at the Roxy before the formulation of Rhymesick? Was it Rhymesick already a thing before this?
Rhymesick was already a thing before I ever worked for the Roxy. Joe Campbell really started promoting shows with Ken Holloway, and that was kind of like the Rhymesick's into throwing shows here. I learned from them in the beginning, and that's why I got the internship at the Roxy's, because they knew I had some background in it, and because I knew
Nice.
Scum from high school. So
And for those who don't know, Scum is he the founder, CEO of LSP, or how does that work out?
He is the founder. He's got co-owners. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. They've been with him. He used to work at a call center. They all used to work at a call center together. And they formed LSP, Lyrical Snuff Productions.
Lex and my personal relationship started, she reached out to me due to mutual friendship that we had through a guy named Fade at the time. She's basically gave us free tickets to Cess Crew in Denver. And I never even met her before. She just like reached out to me like, hey, I know you're homies with Fade. I know that you like strange music, blah, blah, blah. If you want to come with them, here's some free tickets. And we all came down and slept on their couch and Static and I watch
I forgot
YouTube
about
till
that.
like 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah,
So it was great.
yeah,
That was great.
that was like the first any kind of interaction she and I had, and which led to
I never even heard of
future
Casper
shows and
until
stuff.
that day.
Yeah,
I was just heard of them. I never figured when they got off stage. I was like, whoa,
yeah.
who are these guys? Like,
The little tiny
They're
little
sick, they're
dudes
sick.
are
no,
fucking
they're
badass.
so cool,
Right?
man.
Yeah.
They're good people.
Yep. Okay, so there's another thing that I've always really thing that I've always kind of envied about Lex is she knows everybody in that scene, and I don't know how to generalize. Basically, a lot of strange music artists, a lot of horrorcore artists. I mean, and a lot of other artists also. I know that you've worked with.
Metal. Oh, basically just working at the Roxy. Like, what's cool about that is it's hospitality. Like, it's essentially
Right.
you're just taking care of the artist. So you're the face. When they get to the venue, you're the first face they see. When they need something, you're the first person you called. And that was kind of the manager on duty part of it. You did sound check, you did load in, like you're there for the entire event. So when these artists book tours, they have a relationship with the Roxy. Travis, Reagan, and Scum, Ivan, they own the Roxy. And Travis has a really good relationship with these bands, so they keep coming back whenever they tour. So I've worked with all these artists more than one time, and because I worked there for so long, it,
Just builds a relationship.
yeah, and a lot, like, some of the artists, aren't what you expect them to be, and then there's, like, the super low-key ones that are, like Sess, like, Chris Webby.
Okay, so now you've been promoting here in Casper for a little over a year now. What are some local artists here that have stuck out to you?
Obviously Biscuit, because he's a veteran in this. He's, I feel like, underrated in his hometown.
Right, he's an artist
yeah.
for sure.
As far as, like, new artists, I really like Reese. Like, that kid, every time I see him, he's better.
Right.
He never takes criticism the wrong way. He learns from it. He grows from it.
Right.
Shout out
And
to
just-
Reese.
Yeah, and
Big
that's just
shout
a
out to
great
Reese.
trait in this industry alone is to grow from it.
Right.
Like, it's an industry where people don't want to spill their knowledge.
Nobody wants to work
Anybody-
together. I get what you're saying.
Nobody wants to
Yeah.
give their knowledge away for free. Because, like,
Exactly.
knowledge is valuable in this industry. So it's like, it's basically like information trading, this whole industry. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of networking. All the knowledge that I've got has been from DJ Nike. When I started, I didn't know who to even go to for a studio or things like that, or Addiction, and then Caponics, and then
A lot of mine came from Caponics and watching you guys, and then watching promoters like
just
Lex.
just cats that we grew up with in the
Yeah.
scene, and and then like what you said, a lot of people, certain artists or their groups, people that they worked with that didn't want to work with me specifically, so I had to find
For
other
whatever
ways to
reason,
do it.
yeah.
I had to get my own studio. I had to do this, so I get all that.
a lot of trial and error.
But
Take nails.
you grow from it.
Right.
It's cool to see all the people that, like, started this. I mean, essentially you started 10 years ago too, if not longer, like, where we all started and where we're all ending up. Like, it's cool to, like, see the people that you came into it with progress with you. That's one of my favorite parts of the industry is
I like seeing new
those,
people
like-
come into it. Is
I
my
like seeing,
favorite
like,
part.
somebody I put on a show for their first times now doing a national tour. Like, I like watching growth in the artists that I book, and
Right.
like whether it's like a local or a national act, like just seeing people grow is like the coolest part of this industry.
Now, when I introduced you, I said formerly of Dead Media. You want to fill us in on why that is formally?
I'm not leaving Dead Media. I am focusing on my new brand and my new LLC. I've been building other people's brands for a really, really long time. And
Time to focus
I
on
just-
yourself a little bit.
yeah, if I would have spent all this time that I've spent building other people's brands on my own brand, I wouldn't be starting over to start over. So that's where my focus is really going to be heavy this year. My main focus right now is going to be Casper, the Casper market.
What's the new name?
Dyslexic Presents.
Nice.
It's just a brand. I've been DJing, super dyslexic as it is. So I'm just really trying to push my own brand and bring multi-genres of different shows to this market because there's nothing to do
Right.
for all ages. Like, I don't want to just limit it to, you know, 21 and up.
Right.
Like, I really go out of my way to make sure people of all ages can go. Like, I make sure, like, there's security there.
Well, not
You know,
only that,
everybody's
and
insured, you
you're
know.
cutting your market by a significant proportion if
Right.
you
Yeah, but not just that, but,
limit it
like, do
to
you
21 and up.
remember being a kid in this town?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's cool now that, you know, that there's options of things to do, and that's because our generation was so tired of there being nothing to do that,
Right.
Made the market.
yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
it's like, like Virus said in his interview, like, there's something happening here, like, whether we want it to be or not, like,
Right.
whether we get along or not, like,
Right.
this is becoming a recognized market, and I know that because we're getting more national offers and we're getting hit up by more different people that want to come here, and it's gonna be great.
Well, not only like, but what you said, watching artists that we've seen come up. Reese went on tour, Biscuit's on tour right
Yeah.
now. You know, people like that are from here that are nonstop doing things.
Constantly. And watching the Rappers Delight doing what you guys are doing, that's helping build a market for something that people
And
can
it's-
just stand behind
And it's gonna help
start from.
save the market because it's bringing a whole new era and generation into our culture. You know, like, if you don't feed a culture, it'll die. It'll be a
Right.
dying art.
And
So if you don't have these younger generations and the kids in schools and they're the next consumer, they control
Exactly.
what's next. And
Right.
if you don't get them in, you know, to the
Right? When did you love music the most?
exact.
When you were like
Yeah.
13, 14, 15?
And that's the other reason it's like it's important that my shows are all ages is because I want them to have that culture and
Right.
so it doesn't die and we get those next consumers and they can carry it on.
Yeah, I
Which
wish.
is Rappers Delight is the coolest thing ever because that's exactly what you're doing. It's like you're passing the torch to all these, and there's so much talent in this town.
So much.
So much underrated, like, people that just do it for hobby or whatever, like, this town, and it's like
That's
an
what I-
untapped market. Like,
That's what
nobody
I got
knows
sick
yet.
of. I got sick of, you know, it's the age of 2019 and everybody's got one of these things in their hand. And, you know, 6ix9ine could get famous off trolling or, you know,
Oh, man.
well, he was just talking about a turtle has hoses on its back, got 1 million views.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I posted a turtle with hoses on its back. It was a homemade Squirtle, and I just released my EP the other day, and that Squirtle post already has more views on my page than my EP does.
Isn't
And
it
that's
funny how this
so
stupid
bad.
shit will go viral, but this shit that's important to you, nobody
See, well,
cares
that's
about?
my whole mission in the whole music scene is to push the artists who didn't have a voice before. This Michael Styles Ruiz's, the Mighty Q's, the
The
Reese's.
I
You know,
put Reese on his first show with Twiztid, and he actually put in the work. We let him take the headlining spot after Twiztid, and the kids just ran with it ever since.
Dude,
I
grows.
love that kid.
Same.
you really can't say nothing bad about
No.
the kid if you're from
No.
this
He's
town. Like,
amazing.
he's
Look
the
him
hardest
up.
grinder in this town as far as the new scene goes.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
out here selling thousands of dollars worth of tickets for major headliners, and not only competing at Rappers Delight every month or this, and he's
I
out
didn't
here
know,
Always
like,
doing-
There's
he's
a
always doing
freestyle
something.
scene here too, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's cool because like I graduated from high school in Denver, Aurora, and the thing to do after school was everyone would, like, it was like ciphers. Like people would just be in circles
Yep.
and ciphers.
That's what it was back in my
And-
home.
That was never a thing in Casper really, but in Denver that's just what you like. That's
Right.
just what people did. And since you started Rappers Delight, because I work at Butch's, people that'll just be like freestyling, like they do that fly vibes downstairs and
Mm-hmm. In the hookah lounge.
yeah, Challen down
Yeah,
there.
shout out to Challen.
Yeah, Captain.
Captain, my
And,
dog.
But there's really people I will be down there, and there's really people like in these ciphers, like in circles. I'm like,
Mhm.
and that's what's
Hey,
cool
shout
about
out to
it.
Sigman, shout out to Waze, all these the new age freestyle artists. They're out here doing things.
It's
big
a
things.
movement, like, and that's a dying art too. Like
Yeah.
hip hop, you know, there's these elements that didn't progress down to these younger generations. And,
Right.
with the DJ battles, that's bringing it back, and
Yep.
this town has a real hip hop culture, and
It's making waves. definitely
I think
making
it's
waves.
like bigger now than ever, and it's only gonna.
It really
grow.
is. I think,
Yeah.
and I've said this before. The issue before was it was always too heavy on the clicks. So it was this one, and this one.
Now we're all
And if
grown.
you were any outlier, you didn't have a chance at a studio. You didn't have a chance at shows. And then when those people didn't want to work with each other, or when those people fizzled off, the whole scene was gone.
Yep.
And so that's how it's been in Casper since I was in high
So
school.
we started rebuilding the scene, like.
Mm-hmm.
Like Byron said, it's all about growth. You grow up and you grow. That's what it's all about. So what's it like being a DJ around here? Not let alone a
Okay,
female
so-
DJ around here.
I'm not an expert by any means. I kind of got thrown into the position. I started at Butch's as a cocktail. Then I started bartending, and then we had a DJ leave. So I'd never been behind. I've been behind a board, but it was like for 3 days, and it was like 8 years ago. So I had a basic understanding because I've spent time in studios. I understand mixing and mastering. I've been at hundreds of shows. Like I understand the way sound works, but to mix it yourself is a whole different world. And Ashley's just like, yeah, you'll DJ. So Monday nights is just karaoke, which makes my job a little bit easier. But Wednesday nights really like I've just been learning. I've got an opportunity to learn from some of the sickest DJs. Tio, Beast, Harpo, Virus and I are gonna link up, and I'm really just trying to learn it. It's a whole new skill, but I really, really enjoy it. It's
One hell of
awesome.
a promotion from bartender to DJ.
Well, I still worked all 3 positions.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
She was working at the
Yeah,
Oh,
so I still
holy-
cocktail,
Holy
bartend,
shit.
and
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the karaoke.
And where's that at again?
Butches.
Butch's.
Shout out to
Be there.
Ashley too.
So you're a promoter. What do you have going on right now? Like, what are you bringing to Casper or with any artist? What shows? What do you have going on right now?
So right now, the only show that's booked for Casper that I can announce right at this moment is Chris Webby.
Nice.
He's super dope. I've been working with him for a lot of years. It's actually the first show that I learned how to book, that Travis taught me how to do the contract and the formal offer, and he made me go through all the steps. So I'm super excited to bring Chris Webby to Casper. He's one of my all-time favorite rappers. We've worked together for a lot of years.
Awesome.
And it's gonna be super great.
So not only is he somebody you work with, is it somebody you would consider like a personal homie? Like, do you guys like talk
I'm
to each
not
other beyond
really-
business? Or
I'm not really good friends with Chris Webby, but his old manager, Bill, that's my boy. He's super awesome. He is now managing for the Suicide Boys, who
Dope.
I did not know who they were. And Bill was in Denver, and he was like, hey, I'm in your part of town, or in your part of the country. He's like, come through. And I showed up at the Fillmore to a Suicide Boys concert, and it was a sold-out show. And I was not ready. I was
Yeah,
like,
they're a pretty big deal.
Wait,
I was like,
Yeah, so-
whoa. He's like, where are you? I was like, in the balcony where the old people sit, like the sane people. Because those, like, I grew up in Juggalo shows, and these kids scared me, man. I was not having it. But he just got off a Europe tour. He's a good friend of mine. I would consider him a good friend.
Who are other? I mean, I know personally people that you're friends with in the industry, but you know, who are people that you would consider close friends in the industry that other people might know?
Yeah.
of?
My shout out to my bestie Gmo.
Gmo Ski.
Gmo Ski. That's my dude. Every time we're ever in the same state, we're always getting into shenanigans.
Right.
Setting off fire
him up.
alarms, fucking whatever. We get into trouble. He's nerds out with me. Astronomicon, we're always gaming and
Sick.
dressing up.
Follow Lex on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. You can check out all of
Dyslexic, but it's spelled wrong, and I couldn't tell you how to spell it right.
We'll probably-
Insane Poetry. He's awesome. He's been one of my biggest mentors in this industry. He's been doing it longer than all of us. Some of us combined.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, just learning from him. I mean, we've spent Thanksgivings together. We talk once a week. We video chat. He's on tour right now, Scum 2. They're doing triple MFD. But those two are like the legends that I know that I would consider
You were just
my
telling.
homies. I'm an Oxide from Twiztid, of course.
Boom.
He's
I was
super
waiting
great.
for you to touch on
Yep.
that.
He,
One day, me and Lex are sitting there talking, and she's like, "Man, this is crazy. Like, I was a little juggalette chick, and then like, here he is texting me."
yeah, and it's super cool. Well, the craziest surreal moment for me, when I managed Body Bag Syndicate, when I was with Dead Media, we went on tour with Twiztid. We did I think it was 32 days, 32 dates in 38 days. Something like that. It was a month-long tour. We drove from New York to California.
Sick.
And as my 14-year-old self, 13-year-old self, was tripping out because I grew up a juggalo. That's what got me into the industry. That's what led me to Scum shows, is because they booked ABK back in the day. And that's just always, that was my ticket into the industry. So it was already surreal thinking that we were going to go on tour with these guys, but I didn't expect them to really pay as much attention or give us their time of day, because, we're just the opening act. But they're awesome. Every single one of their crew, Magic Ninja's great. We just became friends, I guess. I'm really good friends with the whole crew. And it's weird now, but the most real moment was the last day of tour. We were all in the green room, and Monoxide was painting up. And I was also trying to book Body Bag Syndicate for the Gathering at the same time. And there's this big Juggalo beef in the Juggalo world right now that's irrelevant. But I was sitting on the couch with Monoxide, and Jump Steady, which is Violent J's brother, called my phone. And that's when it all kind of hit me. I didn't even realize that those people are my friends. It's not if it's everyday life, you don't really think of it like that, because it's just another person. And when you're sitting next to one of your childhood idols and another one's calling your phone, and
right, to people who aren't familiar with the Juggalo world, that'd be like sitting here with Puffy and then Tupac calls me or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I don't like to promote drama. I'm all about the peace beneath the underground movement, peace beneath the streets. I hate the fact that the label's beef, but the Juggalo world is growing. I hope it gets better. But it's just a label that not a lot of people work with both labels. And it was just, my 14-year-old self was like, oh my God, you're sitting next to Monoxide and Jumpsuit's calling you. Is this real life? But, still honestly, sometimes I can't believe it's real life. I'm like, is this real? But they're all awesome people. I have mad love for both labels.
Talking about insane poetry, you said you started a little rumor back in the day?
So...
Elaborate on that.
Insane Poetry used to write for Vanilla Ice, used to ghostwrite for Vanilla Ice. That part of the rumor is true. It's a true story. IP, like I said, has been in this longer than any of us, and he is a legend. But we're at the Gathering, and we started a rumor, me and Damian Quinn, shout out to D, that IP wrote Ice Ice Baby. And by the end of the Gathering, people were telling us the rumor that we spread, and I think it's still a rumor. So, it ain't true. Sorry.
Don't let Suge find out.
Yeah. But...
That's too funny.
Yeah, I told
That's
IP,
way
and he's
funny.
like, you what? He's like, I think I heard that.
So one of the things that I've always also had an appreciation for was your hip-hop knowledge. So I've told a couple people this. In my own career, my first project that I released, I sent it to Lex just due to her hip-hop knowledge, and I just wanted an honest opinion from someone who wasn't a close friend. We weren't really close friends at the time, but
I was still in Denver, I think.
Huh?
I was still in Denver.
Mm-hmm. You was still in Denver. But she messaged me back like, all your bars were on time, the lyrics were there, this, and this, maybe emphasis more, find your voice more, this and this, which led to like,
Delivery.
yeah, I got like 6 different rap voices now, and shit's insane.
Oh,
but
man.
that was the one criticism that I took more serious than anything in my whole in the last 3 years that I've been doing this.
Oh.
Seriously.
But, and then it goes back to, that's why I love this industry, is because you get to watch people grow with you, and that's, like, you do have 6 different voices now. It's just cool when artists take that, like Reese, when they take the criticism and they run with it.
Right.
Instead of getting all salty, because some artists have egos. Sorry,
Right.
not sorry. Like,
Yeah,
they go hand in hand, and
It's really hard to tell somebody that, hey, you might want to change this up a bit.
And that's also, like, you don't
Yeah.
want to disrespect their art. Like,
No.
everything that you do is, like, you're putting your energy into it. And you don't want to disrespect something that somebody worked hard on, but at the same time, like, if you ask me for my opinion, that's my opinion.
And I don't care what you do.
And I don't actually-
Anybody could be better. Anybody could take constructive criticism and make themselves better, no matter how top level they are.
Absolutely.
So that was just making me think of something me and Rick Bliss always talk about as far as having other people write your bars for you. You know, some people, and here's how I explain it. There's a difference between rappers and there's a difference between lyricists. And rappers want to be seen and lyricists want to be heard. And, you know, and then sometimes you got your hybrid mixtures. You know, somebody who feels like their art is important enough that they should be appreciated for their art. You know, they don't want to just hide behind the scenes and have people look at their pretty picture. So that being said, give me your top rapper with the description I just gave and your top lyricist with the description I just gave. Yeah, just off the top of your head. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh. Best rapper. Okay, read the descriptions. Rapper. What's the
Rapper
difference?
rapper wants to be seen. A lyricist wants to be heard. And even throw a hybrid in there. The guy who gets both.
Rappers want to be seen. Like, ever?
No, like,
This
you know.
is hard.
Okay, so here, I'll just
have
give
your
you.
Snoop Dogs and you have your KRS ones. You have your rappers want to be seen.
Lyricist, atmosphere.
There you go. Okay.
All
Dope.
time play link,
Slug?
period. Yeah.
Nice.
Their albums are like the soundtrack to my life.
That's way sick.
Incredible. And I'm gonna do another one for Heard. Slain. That man has bars that he can like do quadruple entendres. That he can make
Big
a
pun
bar
style.
mean. He's phenomenal. He's a he writes screenplays, scripts. He acts.
Oh, wow.
But he's in La Coca Nostra. But
Coca Nostra
Slain is also just wants to be heard. As far as just wants to be seen,
That you like.
that I like.
Yeah. You know, I got rappers that I like that's not, you know,
Right.
that's not just purely an artist that I just want to listen to and vibe to. You know, it's not necessarily saying nothing.
I'm gonna say Spark Master Tape.
Okay, we were just talking about that. I never heard
His
of it
that
before.
fool's dope as hell. And it's not even that he really wants to be seen, but he kind of wants to be known because he's an anonymous rapper.
Right.
So clearly he ain't trying to be seen, but
He wants
with
to
a
be.
gimmick like that,
Yeah.
you want to be known. And the other one I'll say for wants to be seen would be, I'm a huge Suicide Boys fan now.
Suicide Boys are dope.
Ever since I
fucks
seen
with
him at the Fillmore, at that sold out show, I mean, I came home a fan. If I would have listened to him beforehand, I probably wouldn't have been as hooked on him as I am. But seeing them and their energy and what they were on
Yeah,
the
they
stage,
have mad energy.
and seeing just the way that, like, just the crowd response alone was enough to make me download all their albums. And I DJ and use them a lot when I DJ, so.
Nice.
But they're not
That's
really
way dope.
saying anything.
they're
But they wanna
party
be-
animals.
And what's
They're
cool,
party
like, they don't
animals.
even call themselves rappers, like, they call themselves rock stars. Because they don't want to tag themselves to, like, you know, they're not trying to claim to be a rapper because
They're not trying to
at
have
least
the
they
old school
respect the
heads
culture.
trying to hate on
Yeah,
them.
we
Yeah,
had-
at
we
least
had
they
this-
respect the culture still,
We
you
had
know?
this conversation with Virus last time. He is saying mumble rappers and guys like that, they need to be placed in their own
And
genre.
Suicide Boys did
Yeah.
that in an interview.
Oh,
it was
definitely,
cool.
definitely. Because they're not hip hop. They're not rappers, but they belong
But there's
to
a lot
that
of those
scene.
people that don't respect the culture that
Call
just
them
says we are
rappers.
rap now.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
No, you're not.
Like, and that's why it's so important to get, like, our older version of hip hop to these younger kids, so that that's not what rap is gonna end up consisting
Right.
of.
I've had
Consumers.
trouble with that in my studio with me personally. It's not like it's a big trouble, but having younger artists and then me having to adapt to their style of music, it's hard for.
How do you think Dr. Dre feels? You
It's
know,
very
like, he's
it's very
seen-
hard for me
He's
someone to
seen-
come in
he's
here
seen
and be
so
like,
much.
He's
okay,
been through
I got
horrors.
30 bars and and a hook at the front and a hook at the end, and that's it. I'm like, that's fucking weird.
Like, that's not song structure.
Yeah.
But maybe we're just old.
But that's
You
how
don't do
shit
that.
goes now. A lot of shit's 2 verses
I know,
and 1
like,
verse
most
now.
of the Suicide Boys songs, like, my favorite Suicide Boys song is 1 minute and 42 seconds. I know all the times of songs now because I DJ, so I have weird random facts like that.
Right. Okay, that's tight.
I know
Gucci Gang
we-
was one of the shortest, or what did it say? It held the record for shortest song to
Okay.
ever reach #1.
Most
go
famous
platinum.
person I ever met, Lil Pump or Smoke Perp. Which one is that? Gucci Gang.
Lil Pump.
Okay,
I
so
fucks with Lil Pump low
a
key.
year before he
Don't hate.
dropped Gucci Gang, I was at the Roxy, and his manager in the Roxy, and we booked him. And I looked him up and I was like, who the fuck is this? And Travis, who's good at what he does, he's like, it's gonna sell, it's gonna sell, it's gonna sell.
Every time.
And I don't remember, I can't remember if he booked the show or if we rented it out to another promoter. But all I know is I didn't hire enough security for that night because I had no idea that we would be turning away over 100 people at the door. And this is before Gucci Gang. And I was like, whoa. And, we paid him at the end of the night and I met him and everything. About a year later, he dropped that Gucci Gang song. And now he is way too big to even play
Right.
the Roxy's a 500 cap venue. So
Right.
really, the majority of the artists that I've worked with are either artists that have already hit their peak, now they're just
chilling.
yeah, or they're artists on their way to hitting their peak, and they're just not quite to the next, like the Fillmores and the Red Rocks, and so it really is cool because to work that age of that capacity of a venue, and see everyone in their state of those careers. I never expected him to drop that song, and I think he went platinum.
Yeah, he was, and the song's only like 2 minutes 40 something.
What was his deal for that song? You got signed to how many million for that one song?
Oh, I couldn't.
I think it was 6 or 9 million. Don't quote me exactly.
And years before that, he played the Roxy.
And he worked his way out of the deal
to where he
right before
rights
this
and all
song
that
dropped,
bullshit.
and he worked his way out of the deal to where he would own the masters to it right before it dropped.
Mm-hmm.
The kid,
genius, man.
and he's one of those rappers that started out doing shenanigans online, and
and that's
just like that Bad Baby chick.
I remember
Shenanigans online. Next thing you know,
after that show, I double checked every single artist because if you hire
never know.
2 security and you have 500 people, 2 security isn't going to handle 500 people, especially of that genre. So
Right, absolutely.
yeah, but Gucci Gang a year later, I was like,
We have a remix. It's the Gucci Gang Ghost Mix.
It's actually the intro to this song.
The intro to our
podcast.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
you guys changed it?
Yeah.
Dope.
It's the intro to the
Midwest
podcast.
Renegade.
Yep.
Check it out. SoundCloud.
I'll drop
just
the
dropped
links.
it.
I'll drop the links. Don't worry
I
about
just
it, guys.
loved it. It was great. I literally just
Yeah, we was just listening to
It's
it.
on. It's on the new EP, Return to Flat World. Gonna plug that in right now.
not to be confused with Flat Earth.
No, whatever. You could probably Google the same thing and find it. That was the whole play behind that whole thing. My company's Project Flat World. I do all the printing and pressing and stuff. But I was heavy into conspiracy theory
Are
documentaries.
you a Flat Earther?
No, no, not like that. No, but I'll be the first one to say that I've never been to space. So, but it was one of those things that it drew people in because that was the first question that they would ask me. But no, I just print and press flat projects.
That means I dig it. I get it.
And then
Any
Project Flat
marketing, though?
Project Flat World was the first EP. Now it's Return to Flat World.
Flat World.
And Osh mixed and mastered it.
Needs to be a comic book behind that. I feel like Flat World sounds like a comic book world.
That sounds tight. Huh?
That does sound way tight. I
My
just got.
homeboy Schizo, who I'm going on tour with in July, he makes coloring books.
What?
Yeah, and
That's way sick.
oh, I wish I would have brought it. He gave me the first time I met him. I got one of his coloring books at the gathering, and we run into each other rarely. But he's one of my really good friends, and I just seen him at Astro in February, and I got one of his new coloring books.
Like, what kind of coloring books are they? Like, just random?
They're his own comic book, but it's like a comic coloring book. So like he's his own character.
Oh,
and
okay,
thing,
that's way
and
dope.
You get to color it.
Oh, nice. That's tight.
Cause Why would you want to color your own comic book?
I always thought it was sick that that ICP had their own comic book. And then I looked
Twiztid
back.
has one too.
Yeah.
Haunted Highlands? Something like that. I don't know, the illustrations are dope. They always have all these guest illustrators.
Sick.
I'm a super nerd when it comes to comic books.
I just got done reading Power Rangers. I can't remember it, but the whole part of it was they got sucked into a alternate dimension through the morphing grid, and next thing you know, alternate versions of themselves were fighting each other.
What's your favorite Power Ranger?
My favorite Power Ranger would have to be Tommy.
Green or white?
Oh, the green. Definitely. All day. Dragons, baby.
What's your favorite Power Ranger?
The red one.
Which one, Rocky or Jason?
Rocky.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice.
OG.
Way sick.
I always like the pink one.
The murderer. Look up the Red Ranger. Google the Red Ranger.
Oh,
sometime.
he killed his roommate with the
Yeah.
katana.
Yeah, with the sword.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Red Ranger. He killed his in real life. Killed his roommate with the sword.
I think it's from SPD.
The pink one?
No, the red one.
Oh, I see the pink one.
Because all these guys that they get for these roles are actual martial artists, gymnasts, and they're trained and stuff. Well, this dude had a katana and killed his roommate. Yeah.
Life, though.
Yeah, life though. Life as a ranger is rough, yo.
Rough Rangers.
Yeah, I got a die-cast Power Morpher from the 1994 movie. And then I got another Morpher from the recent remake.
I'm a Dragon Ball nerd, so I have like all the Dragon Balls.
That's way sick.
And a Scouter.
I never watched an episode of Dragon Ball Z until like 2 years ago.
What did you think?
I loved it. I'm building I'm building my collection right now. Like, but not an episode of GT.
No, I can't.
Super.
GT is awful.
The original. I've never watched it until like 2 years ago when my wife put me onto it.
GT is
Zero knowledge.
Zero knowledge.
Zero knowledge. I was like 2 years above. Like I was
In that
leaving
weird
like
area.
I was leaving elementary school and like Pokemon and Dragon Ball was super popping when I was like getting ready to start middle school. So I was like, girls, you know what I mean? Straight up. All right, folks. So that'll do it for another episode of Noise from Nowhere. Thanks to our guest Lex from
Dyslexic presents.
Shout outs.
Shout out to Scum Troll for teaching me and bringing me in the industry. Shout out to IP Biscuit, who's out on tour right now. If you're on the East Coast, go check him out. Everyone I work with at Dead Media, and Lonnie and Challen, who are going to be the future of
Lonnie.
this
Average and
market.
captain.
Average and captain.
Average and Captain, yeah, they're really gonna be my backbone as I build this brand and start this venture. We're gonna be bringing lots of different genres, different venues, different events, wrestling, other things than just music,
Nice.
and there's big plans. So thanks for supporting the arts and keep supporting them so we can
Stay
continue
tuned.
to do awesome stuff.
All right, well, thanks for coming down to NFN TV.
Shout out from Aquarius A Studios, Osh, Blueprint Linguistics.
Shout out from Duke Wallace, Era 21, Project Flat World.
Wyoming, love.
We out.
Midwest renegade hooligan, who is he repping it heavily? Dookie Mane, ain't no shade. Take 2 shots straight to the brain. Ice grilled out like I'm hella paid. Whoa, take your ass up to the helipad. Toss your ass into propeller blades. You know the boys stay too insane. Renegade, renegade, renegade. Midwest renegade hooligan, who is he repping it heavily? Dookie Mane, ain't no shade. Take 2 shots